I'm so excited. The president's on his way. Mr. Lincoln! Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Welcome to Marcy Joe's Bakery.
Be here.
Come on in. We'll get you some coffee and we'll chat a little bit.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time. We're just really excited to find out these answers to your questions. Thank you, dear.
Oh my gosh, President Lincoln, is that you? Really? In 2020? Wow, oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Today we are at Marcy Joe's Bakery in Caney Springs, Tennessee. Today is April 13th, 1865. I have the privilege of spending some time with the 16th President of the United States, Mr. Abraham Lincoln.
How do you do?
Also known as Michael Hunt, co-owner of Marcy Joe's Bakery. It's a great honor to be with you, Mr. President. Our class has put together some questions, and we were hoping that you would be able to answer them.
Do my best.
Where did you get your hat?
This whole thing, my wife keeps bothering me to get a new one. Says this one's too crumpled, but I love hats. They protect against the weather. They give me an even greater height advantage than my 6'4". And this particular one, it's a great storage bin for papers. Like this one.
That's very useful. If you could go back in time, Mr. President, would you change any decisions that you made?
I'd have to say no. All mistakes are valuable when you've learned from them. Don't beat yourself up by wishing you could go back and do things differently. When you have to make a decision, learn all that you can. Be still and listen. Then make a decision and stick with it. That's where a lot of people miss the mark. They quit too soon. You have to give grit and stick with your principles.
Good point. Stick with it, miss. I like that. How do you feel about people calling you Honest Abe?
Well, I really don't like being called Abe, but being honest, being true and authentic is vital. We must tell the truth. This also goes for seeing others in their truth. It's important to listen well to others. Our Maker gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. An enormous part of telling the truth is simply listening. If you listen to those who disagree with you and convince them you are indeed listening, you will have gone much further. You will give them hope, and that's what we need more of now, is hope.
Absolutely true. Thank you for that. May I ask you, what is your middle name?
I don't have a middle name.
How old were your parents when they met?
I believe my mother was 21, my father was 28 when they married. She was a seamstress, and he was a farmer and a carpenter. My mother was known for her work ethic, neatness, cheerfulness, and intelligence. My father never really understood my drive to read and to learn.
I can see now where you get a lot of your traits from. When you were younger, did you ever break a bone?
When I was 10 years old, I was kicked in the head by a horse. It cracked my skull and knocked me out. I was unconscious for a day, but when I awoke, I was fine.
Well, that's terrible, but I'm so glad to hear that you were fine. That's good. What was it like, back then going to school? I would assume you went to a one-room schoolhouse, and what was that like at the one-room schoolhouse? And your schoolwork, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
But if you put all my official schooling together, it would equal less than 1 year. I learned my ABCs in a one-room cabin with no windows, a mile from my home. Sometimes we had a teacher, but sometimes it was just the older kids teaching the younger ones. I guess you could say I'm what they call a self-educated man. I hear there's a one-room schoolhouse nearby in these parts. Those kids are lucky. Learning is important, but you can't depend on someone else for your learning. It's important to take initiative and learn things for yourself. I especially enjoyed studying law and was able to practice law even without a formal education.
I'm so happy to hear you say that you really truly value education and took such great initiative. So, Mr. President, as you know, These days in our country, we are experiencing an enormous toilet paper shortage. And of course, toilet paper is paper on a roll. But we were wondering, what did you or do you use for toilet paper in your day?
Interesting invention. Paper on a roll, you say? I am quite the inventor myself. I once patented a device to lift boats over low places and rivers. It was never manufactured, but I hear I am the only president to date to have a patent in my name. But back to your question. You have a song in Tennessee, don't you?
Which one is that?
Corn dough?
Corn. Oh, corn don't grow too well. Rocky tough ground's too rocky by far. Yes, we do.
Corn grows really well in Kentucky where I was born. Also in Indiana and Illinois is where I lived later.
Oh, okay then. So, is it hard being president?
Yes, but I have found that you are always prepared for the next thing you will be asked to do. Your job is simply to say yes and trust that it will go well. We can do hard things.
We absolutely can do hard things. Good point, Mr. President. Could you tell us a little bit about your daily routine?
I wake up early in the morning. I go for a walk around the White House, enjoy a simple breakfast and coffee. I might grab a newspaper from a newsboy, followed by work in my office, which might include speech writing or meetings with cabinet members or the public, as well as letter writing. The First Lady sometimes has to remind me to eat it, as I might forget. I might go for a carriage ride in the afternoon with Miss Lincoln or ride along on horseback, or visit with friends after dinner. And I usually don't get much sleep, sometimes staying up as late as 2 a.m.
Wow, that is work ethic that your mother was showing you for sure. Well, you mentioned food. So what are a few of your favorite foods?
I eat pretty healthy. Fruit. I love apples, nuts, cheese, and crackers. But since we are a bakery, I will confess, Mary makes a most delicious French almond cake. She won me over during our courtship with it. Truly is the best cake I ever ate.
They should offer that here at the bakery. And do you have a favorite color?
Blue. Well, red, white, and blue to be more precise.
Of course. And do you have a favorite animal?
I love animals of all kinds. We have 2 horses in the White House stables that Tad likes to ride. I'm especially fond of cats. My cat Tabby eats at the table with us. We also have rabbits, goats, and a dog named Fido.
Mr. President, do you enjoy reading?
Just as working with an axe strengthens your body, so too reading books sharpens your mind. I have been voraciously reading since I can remember, from sunup and then at night by firelight. I had to squeeze little bits of reading in between chores. A book on arithmetic, Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, Robinson Crusoe. I borrowed neighbors' books, and I read through every one I could find for 50 miles around.
That is incredible. It is spring here now. What is your favorite season?
Summer. It has the most hours of sunlight for reading.
And do you have a favorite song?
I don't play an instrument, but I do appreciate music. Dixie is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland.
It is important that we bring it back into our national songbook to unite us now that the war is over.
Do you collect anything?
I kept a notebook of quotes as a boy and memorized meaningful passages. The Bible is one of my most prized books, and I know its stories well. Being able to tap into so many stories and passages definitely helped later in life, in my law practice and also in politics. These days I write ideas on scraps of paper and throw them into my roll-top desk. Then when I need to write a speech, I just put them together.
Well, what else do you like to do in your spare time?
Do you play chess?
Well, actually, I do.
I find playing chess helps with decisions I've had to make in wartime and in politics.
I could see that. There are quite a few sad things that happened over the course of your lifetime. Can you share a little bit about those and also some happy memories?
Yes, I've had to endure my share of sorrows. We all do. Loss is one of the most difficult things to deal with. I lost my mother and 2 sons. Lately, I've found joy in spending as many precious moments with my youngest son, Tad, as I can. He's 12 years old and full of energy. He's quite the prankster. He was charging guests a nickel to meet with me and was donating the money to charity, but I put a stop to that. Did you know that I declared the last Thursday in November a national holiday? Thanksgiving Day. We received a gift of a turkey intended for Thanksgiving dinner. Well, Tad named him Jack and persuaded me not to have him butchered, he said. He's a good turkey and I don't want him killed, so I pardoned the turkey.
Oh, that's a great story. One child was wondering, because your image is on the 1 cent, the penny, how do you feel about your picture being on, only on the penny that we may even get rid of someday, and not on a higher value coin or bill, for that matter?
I was born in a 1-room cabin in Kentucky. I did not find my worth in wealth or in achievements. Some might call those humble beginnings. There's nothing small about humility. Quite the opposite, I would say. I despise vanity. I was once challenged by an arrogant, vain man to duel. I defended my honor and used my wit to outsmart him. So I'd say the fact that I'm on the penny is perfect.
Well said. What is it that made you want to stop or end slavery so bad?
I've always felt that slavery was wrong. I issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed slaves in slave states. I also supported the 13th Amendment, which in an effort freed all men in our nation. True, when I was elected, I did not have plans to abolish slavery in the South, only to halt its spread into new territories. How shall I best explain how I feel about slavery? As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. I also think it makes us appear as hypocrites to the rest of the world.
And what do you plan to accomplish in your second term?
No one really thought I'd win a second term, not even me. I had to run against Generals Grant and McClellan, but then Sherman took Atlanta. This is a time for rebuilding our country. The difficulty will be restoring the Union as to make a union of hearts, hands, as well as of states.
Oh, that's beautiful. On a serious note, how did you feel when the Union was suffering such heavy losses during the war?
Over 600,000 lives were lost in the war. It was such a high but necessary cost. It's a hard job to send them to war, knowing many of them won't be coming home to their families. Our main goal was the preservation of the Union. General Grant understood this too. The office of the presidency is a huge responsibility, and one I did not accept lightly.
What do you think of America now?
The principles on which our great nation was founded are the backbone of this great nation. People thought this might be the end of this experiment of liberty that is the United States of America. It has been a time of great uncertainty, and there are serious questions about our future. But brave men were willing to stand up for what they believed in and defend her. I love this nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today, Mr. President. So one final question, if you don't mind. What would you say are some of the things that are most important to you?
My faith, a love for family, the inherent value of all people. Keeping my body strong, I was a formidable wrestler in my younger days. I believe in working hard and finishing a job you start. I believe in never giving up. Education is important to me, but above all, I love my country. Some of these things are worth fighting and dying for. But thank you, I've enjoyed spending time with you. I best be getting on home. 5 days ago, the war ended. Miss Todd and I had plans to go to the theater tomorrow, and don't want to keep her waiting. Oh wait, first we need to draw the winning name for one lucky boy or girl. And their family is going to win a pan of cinnamon rolls at Marcy Joe's. Thank you for sending in those questions. And the winner is...
That'll be 4063. You got cash or card?
All I have is corn.
I'm sorry, sir. That won't work.
Do you have any Benjamins? You have a song in Tennessee, don't you? Corn don't grow too well on rocky top grounds. Too rocky by far.
Never mind.